What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 114 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my dining room table. And today I want to give you all my playoff picks and predictions in the NBA of the first round. We have a lot of awesome matchups. It starts today. And so let's get to it. I'll start in the Eastern Conference. We have the 1 seed Miami Heat taking on the 8th seed Atlanta Hawks. This is a pretty good matchup. I'm going to go with the Heat here in about 5 or 6 games. I just think they're the better defensive team. They're the better, well-coached team. And their offense is good, too. They have a solid bench. They have a lot of depth. The Atlanta Hawks also have a lot of depth, too. They have an amazing offense, but they're ranked pretty last. I believe they're 26th in defense in the league. And against a tough and gritty team like the Miami Heat, you're going to want to play defense. And just for those reasons, I just think that the Heat are going to win in 5 or 6 games. So give me the Heat. Next is the number 2 seed, the Boston Celtics, my favorite team, taking on the number 7 seed, Brooklyn Nets. And this is probably going to be the best series in the entire playoffs so far. No bias aside at all. I just believe that it's going to be a heavyweight championship match. We have the Celtics, the 2 studs, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, going against the 2 studs on the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Both guys, or all four players could each drop 50 points a night at any given moment. Great teams, and I can't wait for this one. I'm going to have to pick the Celtics in 7. And the reason why is I believe that, they have a lot of momentum. They close the series or the season out really strong. And they have the number 1 ranked defense in the league. While the Nets, on the other hand, they have a really good offense, but their defense is where they really lack. They have some solid depth too, but I think the Celtics have a little bit better depth. They have guys like Peyton Pritchard and Derek White coming off the bench who could each get you 15 points off the bench. But, you can't sleep on the Nets. They have guys like Andre Drummond, Seth Curry, and Bruce Brown who can change the game for sure as well if KD and Kyrie aren't picking it up. But I'm going to go with the Celtics in 7 because I believe that defense can win games. Next is the Bucks taking on the Bulls. So the Bucks were the champions last year, and they are showing us why they could be the champions again this year. They're playing a Bulls team that started off really hot, and then they got cold. They had a lot of injuries, and then they couldn't really find their identity, and they haven't been able to, and they didn't end the season that good. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games, and I just believe that it's a bad matchup for the Bulls against the Bucks. I don't feel like they have anyone on that team that's going to slow down Giannis. I know that the Bulls have an amazing player in DeMar DeRozan. They also have a good player in Zach LaVine. They have a solid center in Nikola Vucevic. But I feel like the area that the Bulls lack, where the Bucks are really strong, is defense. Bucks have an amazing defense. Giannis is arguably the defensive player of the year. And then they have the point guard, Drew Holiday, who is always normally locking up the other opposing team's point guard. So I expect the Bucks to win this one in 5 games. Next is the 76ers taking on the Toronto Raptors. So Philadelphia is the 4 seed, Raptors the 5th seed, and I believe this is going to be low-key one of the best playoff matchups so far as well. It's going to be real interesting because Philly, they're kind of up and down. They traded for James Harden. They got James Harden. They started off hot. And then they had a couple games where they weren't playing too good. James Harden wasn't playing up to his expectations. And just a lot of craziness going on. And the Raptors, they closed the season really hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're a solid defensive team. And they just have a great chemistry. They have a great coach as well. And they're just capable of doing it all on the offense and defensive end. They have Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., the list goes on and on. And obviously the Sixers have great players too. Like I mentioned, James Harden, he's a triple-double threat. He's at least going to get you 20 points and 10 assists. And Joel Embiid, I don't see anyone stopping Joel Embiid on the Raptors. I could see him averaging at least 30 to 35 points and at least 12 to 14 rebounds in this series. The problem with the Sixers is that they don't have a solid bench, while the Raptors have a pretty solid depth on their team. The Sixers bench is one of the worst in the league, and I think that is going to kill them in this series. So for those reasons, I am going to take the Raptors in 7 games. Next, we head out west. We got the number 1 seed Suns taking on the 8th seed New Orleans Pelicans. And I think that Phoenix is either going to sweep them or they're going to win in 5 games. I don't see this going past 5 games. The Suns are just too good this year. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. I just don't see anyone really on the Pelicans stopping the Suns. The Pelicans do have a solid squad. They won 2 play-in games, but they're just not at the Suns level. So I think the Suns will either sweep them or win in 5 games. Next is the 2 seed Memphis Grizzlies taking on the 7 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, this is going to be an awesome matchup, really fire matchup. I can't wait. The Grizzlies with John Morant, Desmond Bane. They have other guys, too, that have been stepping up on their team. They have Dylan Brooks back. They just have a lot of solid players, a lot of solid depth. But the Timberwolves are also a tough and gritty team. Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Pat Beverly bringing the energy on the defensive side. Both of these teams remind me of each other, and I can't wait to see this matchup because, in my opinion, it's going to be the 2 stars, the 2 up-and-coming stars, John Morant and Anthony Edwards, battling it out to make it and advance their team. But I am going to have to pick the Grizzlies in 6 games. Next is the 3rd seed Golden State Warriors taking on the 6th seed Denver Nuggets. This seems like a pretty solid matchup too. The Warriors, I heard, are getting Steph Curry back, so that definitely changes how this series is going to play out. The Nuggets, they have arguably the MVP in the league, one of the best centers in the league, Nikola Jokic. But unfortunately, he's really out there by himself. His 2 other players, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., they're hurt. They're not going to be able to play. And guys like Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, and Will Barton, they're all hit or miss. They either have solid nights or they do real terrible. So it's pretty much Jokic out there alone. I expect him to average at least 25 to 30 points a game and probably about 12 to 15 rebounds a game too. Great passer too. He could probably average 8 to 10 assists. But I just don't think it's enough. Especially a healthy Warriors team with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson out there. And then they have the other stud, Jordan Poole, coming off the bench. I just think it's too much for the Nuggets. So give me the Warriors in 6 or 7. And for the final matchup of the Western Conference, we have the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks taking on the 5 seed Utah Jazz. The Mavericks seem like they're going to be without Luka Doncic for this whole series, or at least for half the series, which could be a problem. But the Mavs have really good chemistry, and they still could possibly win this series, because if you look at the Jazz, they closed out the season horrible. They finished 4-6 in their last 10 games, and they've blown a lot of big leads towards the end of the season. They'd have leads of 20 points, 25 points, and they would still manage to blow it. And it just seems like their chemistry is off. They seem like they lost their rhythm, and it's going to be real tough for them to get it back. I think it's going to carry into the postseason. So for those reasons, I'm going to take the Mavs to win in 7 games. But if Luka comes back, I think it's going to be Mavs in 6. And if Luka was playing the entire time, I think it would have been Mavs in 5 or 6. But I am going to roll with the Mavericks here. I guess they're my upset pick. They're going to be my upset pick because a lot of people are favoriting the Jazz because of this Luka Doncic injury. And I will say my lock of the playoffs of the first round is going to be the Phoenix Suns beating the New Orleans Pelicans. I think that's the major lock. A lot of people would agree with me on that. So let me know who your picks are in the NBA playoffs. I'm so happy playoff basketball is here. Make sure you tune in and watch. Let me know what you think of the games. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on my Instagram, do what you can to like, share, and promote my page. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and happy Easter too. Easter is tomorrow. Spend time with your family, enjoy the holidays, eat some good food, have some fun. Thank you all, and take care.